Hi, my name is Janaya. This is my final project for technology and digital literacy, and this presentation is about project-based learning. Okay, what is project-based learning? Project-based learning is an instructional method that encourages students to learn via experience and less via paper, pencil, Scantron exam. This is requiring them to work long term on a project instead of short term for an exam. So for this project, we had to read our textbook chapters 3, 4, and 5 and give a summary about project-based learning. So to start off with chapter 3 starts off by talking about project-based learning and how it needs to be planned and well thought out when it is planned. Because project-based learning requires students to think about the big idea of a topic, we can't just give this to them as a random project or another random assignment that needs to get completed. The chapter talks about what we as educators should do to begin students on their PBL journeys. And part of that is teaching them how to pull out the big ideas so that they can get through the processes of creating a presentation or a project. Um, we need to think about what the big idea is in the curriculum, and we need to ask what do we need to give our students for them to get to this big main point? What are we trying to teach them or get them to understand? And how do we get them there? And how do we get them to do that? We move on to chapter 4, which talks about discovery and how we pick each project that we give our students. The book talked about teachers and how teachers should be collaborating with each other to give students these projects. And we do this because we want to make sure that projects are connected and we want to make sure that things are making sense. We want it to be a cumulative project, so everything combining, all the ideas combining into one. And in order to do that, we need to look at what other people have done for projects, what their successes were, and how we need to add and or change to make our project successful. And we would do this by reviewing. We need to review, we need to use or look at someone else's work and see what they did well, what they didn't do well. And that gives us an opportunity to look at our students, their needs, their task in order to get the outcomes that we want. We're not doing PBL projects for students to fail. It's not like a paper pencil exam where if you knew more, if you studied more, if you showed up to school more, you're going to get 100. And if you didn't do those things, you're going to get a 0. This is us wanting every student to understand, every student to pass. And in order to do that, we need to review others' work and see what we can do to make our work stronger. We move on to chapter 5. In chapter 5, we talk about how we are going to use this as an assessment. We do need to assess our students. We do need to understand if they learned what they were supposed to learn, if they met those target goals, those objectives. And we can do assessments through PBL, through project-based learning. We can give an exam style assessment. It's good sometimes, it's not good other times, but a lot of times assessments are daunting for not only the teachers but the students. In order to have a well-rounded assessment, it needs to have multiple choice, true, false, short answer, long answer. Those take a long time to grade, and a lot of teachers don't want to grade long assessments. And they also take students more mental strain to study for because it is about memorization. With project-based learning, we are thinking less about what we can memorize and more about how we can research, how we can find, and how we can discover more information on a topic that a teacher or an educator has already introduced to you. So when we're giving an assessment through PBL, we're looking for results. We need to set up the project, set up the assessments so that students can produce the results that we're wanting. If we're wanting students to be creative, I'm a dance instructor, so if we're wanting students to create their own 30 seconds of choreography. I, as a teacher, need to give them all of the tools to help them get there. I need to teach them technical steps. I need to give them choreography tips. I need to tell them how to start, where to go, and how to finish. And this is what chapter 5 is talking about. In order to assess my students at the end of their project, I need to give them all the tools they need to complete it properly and for them to give me the results that I'm looking for. If we shift and if we engage fully and completely in project-based learning, these assessments are going to be so authentic. They're going to come. Your students are going to discover things about themselves they didn't know. You, as an educator, are going to discover things about your students that you didn't know. And you're still going to be giving students that mental physical test that you're getting from taking an exam. This is going to set up students to have more high quality results instead of can they memorize? Do they have photographic memory? I was a student that never did. So project-based learning would always tell you if I knew a topic or if I could research or learn a topic on my own compared to a written exam. What's important? We have to introduce it. We have to put it in our schools. We have to put it in our practice. I am an arts teacher, a dance teacher, and everything we do is project-based learning. It's very hard for me to give a paper pencil exam because maybe the students do know the terms, but can they execute them? And that's what's really important about project-based learning. Yes, we have vocab. Yes, we have definitions. Yes, we have equations, but can we put those things to use? We need to think more in the long run and how we can get students to be creative while allowing them to practice those real life critical thinking skills that we're asking of them. And that's my project on project-based learning. Thank you so much for the semester. It was actually super fun. I got to learn a lot of really interesting things, and I got to do a lot of things that I would not have done or sought out to learn on my own. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And hopefully I take more classes or I see you again soon, Professor. Thank you.